In this video, we're going to cover how to make custom queries in Elementor Pro for the posts and loop grid widgets. Now, this is an advanced topic. We're going to be writing some code in PHP. We're going to include that in our functions.php file, but this really unleashes the power of Elementor Pro, especially when you're making custom websites. Let's get started. On this website, we have an events page, and there are two sections to it: upcoming events, which shows a couple items right now, and then past events. I want each of these individual events to move from one to the other automatically. I don't want my client to have to go in and check a box or do something to make this happen. It should just happen based on the dates of the events. And in particular, we're going to base this on the end day of the event. So here is a single event on the back end, and we have these custom fields. We created this with ACF. We have these custom fields: a start date, start time, and an end date. An end date is what we're going to use to determine if a event is in the future or in the past. Let's take a look at the archive page. Here is a loop grid template, and we're going to set up a custom query for it. So our source is events, and I have a query ID, future events. And in this query, I'm going to analyze these dates and show events accordingly. I have another loop grid. It's down here. It's past events. Same thing. I have a custom query for it. It's the past events query. And this will determine what posts took place in the past. So if we take a look at an event, we have this end date. We created this with advanced custom fields, and we're going to need to know this event key. So we look at the field groups. We have an event field group here. It is attached to the event custom post type. And in here we have an end date. And so the name of this meta field is end_date. So we can just click to copy that. So we can go now to our functions.php file and start making custom queries based on this end date. Here's the code that we'll put into our functions.php file in our theme, or our custom theme, or our child theme. And we have hooked this into Elementor using this hook, Elementor/query/, and then we give it a name, future_events. If we go back and take a look at our archive, we have this query ID for past events, and we also have a query ID for future events, future_events. So that's where this gets set up. Now this query is going to take the query object, that's passed by Elementor, and we're going to update it basically using the pre-get_posts method. So we are going to use these query set commands. So we're going to set our post type to be event. That's our custom post type. I'm going to create a variable called today that we'll use to determine whether or not a post happened in the past or will happen in the future. And then if we don't have a meta query, we need to set one up. So we'll do that first, and then we can append our meta query to this, to what's been passed to us. So again, query set, a meta query. A meta query is an array of arrays. So we open up an array, and inside there we put another array where our key is end date, end_date, right? That's the key that we found from our custom meta field in advanced custom fields. And against this, we're going to compare the value of today, or the today variable, and we want it to be greater than or equal to, and this type of operation, this type of comparison, is a date. So if today is greater than or equal to the end date, then this will be an event that is either ending today or will end sometime in the future. So therefore it's a future event. Now here we are doing some ordering of the posts. So by the end date, the value of the end date, I'm going to order that in the ascending method. And so what's interesting here is this is going to override whatever we set up in the widget itself. So here I've set up that I want to order by the title, and I want the title to be ascending, and that's not what we're getting, right? We have this title here starts with an E, this title here starts with an L. So if we were really ordered by ascending, then this early October post would show up before the Labor Day post, and that's not happening. And that's because we overrode that with this code here. So we have a very similar thing for past events, right? It's the same setup, with the same meta query, et cetera, et cetera. The only difference here is that the compare now is less than. So for example, if today was the 10th and the end date of a previous event was, the 9th or the 8th or whatever, then this happened in the past. So we use this less than comparator. And again, we're going to order our posts, but this time I'm going to order them in descending format because I want the most recently ended post to show up on top. And then as past events get older and older and older, they should go down and down and down the list. So that's basically the difference between these two custom queries. I have a dashboard that my clients can use if they have an editor or administrator role. So this is a dashboard on the front end, and there is an Elementor Loop Grid on the front end as well to show them the posts that they can edit. And we want these posts to be in both the publish and the draft status. So again, I query set the post type to be event, and the post status, in this case, an array of published or draft, and again, any other custom post statuses that you might have created, like under review or planning or something like that. You can just add that to the array here, and whatever you've included here will show up on that front end dashboard. On the Elementor developer website, the documentation here is pretty good for the custom query filter. As we were talking about, it basically uses the WordPress native pre-get post hook, or we set up our query that, using this methodology. And it's just like any other WordPress native hook. And they have various examples here. So this first one, for example, is an array of 2 different custom post types that they want to show up in the one widget. Filtering by metadata. So we, very similar to what we did, they have a meta key in this case called project type, and their value is design or development. And there's more here. If you want to learn more about pre-get posts, WordPress has some good documentation about that and some good examples on how to use pre-get posts. The one thing I would just point out here, a lot of these examples have conditionals here that, if the query is, home and the query is the main query, then, we're going to do this stuff. We don't need these conditionals because we're using the Elementor widget. It's going to be on whatever archive or whatever page, makes sense, and it's only going to run there. So we don't really have to worry about these types of conditionals in our setup. If you want to learn more about WP Query, again, developer.wordpress.org talks about the query class in great details. And for example, here's a section on post and page parameters. And here's, all of the things that we can work with to help us filter the posts the way we need them to be filtered. And there's authors, categories, tags, taxonomies, et cetera, et cetera. So there's lots of information here if you really need to do some custom work in setting up that filter for your Elementor widget. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much for staying to the end here. If you found it helpful, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thank you.